exciting. Okay, thank you for your patience. Abraham, there you are. Whew. Okay, yep, I'm ready.
You all right?
Yes. Oh. Oh. All right. 2 questions. One is, I'm in therapy, and my therapist was talking about inner child and shadow work. And I just wanted to know, what is your take on shadow work? And
what is your take on it? That's what matters more.
I don't know. I mean, I perceive shadows to be this thing that kind of just follows you around, but it's always there when light is there. So I don't necessarily see a shadow as a bad thing, but how I heard it was that it's something that's holding me back from an experience in childhood.
There are a lot of people who are reaching for a lot of ways to help you figure out how to get from where you are to where you want to be. And we applaud all of that, wanting to make it clear for you. The most important thing, what we're reaching for with all of you, is that you understand that you have guidance within you that you can tap into. And sometimes people don't want to talk about that part of you. But until we talk about that part of you, then you don't have any real relationship that you can find any true guidance from. So that part of you is the source energy of you. You could say it's the light of you. It's not just who you were before you were born, but it's who you've become even since you've been focused in this body. And so we can see how someone who knows that part of you is so light that the shadow part of you could be the part of you that's blocking that. In other words, there's some logic to all of that, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
But
yes.
We don't encourage trying to get rid of what is not wanted. We want you to give 100% of your attention toward what is wanted. But of course, you are where you are. And so when we comment on the way other people are going about things, it is not of very much advantage, because it is always a watered down version from what we could give you. In other words, we could spend the whole time that we've all been together analyzing everything that everybody has tried, and some of it works for a lot of reasons and some of it doesn't work very well. And all of it has to do with which thoughts allow you to move in the direction of who you are and what you want, and which thoughts hold you back. And there must be a million ways of saying that, yes?
Yeah.
So if we were standing in your physical shoes, we'd find the way that's the easiest for you to say it, and we'd say it that way until it's either boring or something better comes along.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And what I'm hearing from you is, don't pay any attention to that. Don't give any energy to that, but really focus on...
To what? Don't give any energy to what?
To this whole, the darkness, right?
There is no darkness. There's only light. There is only a source of light, and it can be pinched off. So if you're giving your attention to what's pinched off, then you're encouraging the pinched off. If you're giving your attention to the light, then you're encouraging the light. It's just the way the universe works.
Yes, okay. So light, I will...
But we were not telling you not to do that, because there are some people that could hear that before they could hear this. That's important to know. Esther said to us in the early days, when she would hear things that she thought sounded off to her, she'd say, Abraham, why are they lying? And we said to Esther many times in the early days, if every student were in the same place, one teacher would be just fine. But they're not all in the same place. So there are lots of people, and think about it, a lot of people doing a lot of work with a lot of different words in a lot of different ways, as inspired by a lot of inner beings who know where their human is in relationship to where their human wants to be. In other words, something that might not make sense to you might be the perfect thing that that person needs right then and there. Or same with you. Esther remembers when it was all about goal setting, and we don't talk about goal setting in that way at all.
All right, I have one more.
Yeah.
I think that I am...
Oh, by the way, you have a good therapist.
Thank you.
You have a therapist who cares about you, who
Yes.
focuses on you, and who is helping you.
Yes, she is. She's great.
All right.
Thank
Just
you.
want to clear that up.
That's very affirming.
Yeah.
So over time, I have learned to kind of accept my gifts, to be attuned and kind of be on time, to connect with people, pour into people.
What are you pouring in?
I'm pouring in whatever I feel called to pour into them. Nothing really planned or premeditated, but when I'm listening to someone, I might be listening to what they're like not saying, and just whatever comes to me, I might share with them.
As long as it feels good to you.
Totally feels
Never
good.
a warning, ever.
No, it's all in the moment, right? And so I want to be.
But only if it feels good to you.
Yes, if I'm in a funky place, I've learned over time, don't offer anything, right? Because it's going to be funky what I offer.
Or even if they're in a funky place.
Yeah, because
don't amplify funky.
Yeah, yes. That's what I'm also learning not to do. And so I want to tap into that a lot more. I want to be able to make money from that, right? This gift of what I think is, this attunement and being tapped in and connect with people.
It's interesting because sometimes people will have written a book or a song or painted some magnificent thing, and the reason that they were able to do it is because they were tuned in, tapped in, turned on. But then when they go to market it, they can't find the vibration of being tuned in, only because they've practiced something different around money. But the same thing that makes you know that you're in alignment, that's that same feeling that you want to get when you're wanting to turn it into a business.
Yeah, it's so interesting that you even say marketing, because that's always where I freeze, right? Like I have the idea, the drive,
It isn't
whatever.
always where you do, but there is more resistance in that subject for a lot of people. Esther remembers the very first conference that Jerry and Esther went to. They were in San Antonio. They just moved there. And Jerry had written a letter to Robert Butts, who was the husband of Jane Roberts, who was flowing Seth in the same way that Esther is flowing Abraham. And they'd been reading the Seth books and were interested in. And as Esther was unpacking, literally, a flyer floated to the floor. And it was from the Seth Center in Austin. Now they're in San Antonio. So that flyer had been in their possession but hadn't been relevant to them because they were far away from there. And now it's relevant. So they called and talked to a woman who was the director of this place who invited them to come. They went, and Jerry said to her, "Would you like to meet Abraham?" And Esther was very mad at Jerry because people had not yet met Abraham. In other words, it was their secret, which Esther intended to keep it that way because she just thinks this is weird. Thought this was weird. And so Maud visited with Abraham for hours and then asked them to come and be presenters at a worldwide conference that they were having there that weekend. And when they got there, she said to them, "And you will be asked to do some private consultations, and I really want you to do them because everybody does. And you must charge $75 because everybody does." And Jerry and Esther had not contemplated any of this being anything that would bring revenue. It was not about that for them. So Esther remembers the very first money that was given to them. She wanted to just hand it right back because. She had a lot of reasons that she wanted to do that. And so Jerry and Esther had a lot of conversations with us about it. And we said, the exchange of dollars in your environment is also an exchange of expectation of results in many cases. So we said, choose something that is enough that those that are serious will participate and not so much that someone is excluded from it. And so they did, and they've just left it pretty much there since 1990.
That's why I'm able to be here today.
But what we're saying to you is you've got to make peace with it. You have to line up with it. Esther wasn't lined up with it, and therefore it felt wrong to her. She had a lot of conversations with us about it until she came to understand that there's an exchange. In other words, to put someone at ease is an important thing. To satisfy yourself is a more important thing. To do something because somebody tells you that you should isn't a good idea. Do it and line up with it before you do it. So that's what we're saying to you. You're not lined up with that yet, but you will be. That's what you do with each other. You exchange your energy with each other, and your entire economy is based upon that. 100% of your economy is based upon your exchange of energies. And you say, well, not in every case. Sometimes it's effort. Sometimes I clean something or cook something or build something. But it's all about your creativity and the way you exchange it with one another. And as more and more of you find more and more ways to exchange your energies, there are very few people, there still are some who are making buggies and putting shoes on horses. It still is something that exists, but it isn't the percentage of the economy that it once was. But there are many things that are the percentage of the economy that were not, that now are, and it will always be that way. You will always be presented with whatever you can allow to give you whatever it is you want. The subject of economy, it's a big one, isn't it? How does someone decide what something is worth? How do you decide that? It's an energy exchange every single time. So you have to decide. We said to Jerry and Esther, charge enough that it feels like it's worth something. So you have to decide what that is. People will come to you. This audience was exhilarated by you. Your enthusiasm for life and for this moment in time turned them on. It turned them on. You were tuned in, tapped in, turned on. That's something people want to be around. So don't sell yourself short. Just be who you are. People will flock to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's how it goes, isn't it? Exchanging energy, that's the thing. That's why everything is an equal opportunity. Everyone has source energy flowing, and everyone can receive it and point it in the direction of what they are wanting. Without exception, there's not an exception.
Good afternoon.
The Neale Donald Walsh story. So Esther has a very good friend, a couple, and they were interviewing him for a project that they were doing. And they were in a city in Canada, and they had a book they wanted him to sign. And so they went to him and they handed the book to the Conversations with God man. And he took the book and he looked at them and he took the pen in his hand and then he looked upward for a long time. And they're thinking, he's talking to God. And he's going to write a message for us in the book. And then he said, nice meeting you here in Toronto. Love, Neale. And they realized he was thinking Toronto, Edmonton, Montreal, Quebec. Where am I? He's a good friend of Jerry and Esther's. And they had an experience with him one day where they were on the telephone and they were both complaining about an experience that they'd had with someone else for just a moment, just a brief complaint. And he was complaining to them. And then he stopped and was quiet. And then he said, but you know. And then he spewed this stream of positive aspects about his experience. And Jerry and Esther said, really nice visiting with you. We love you. Take care. We'll talk to you later. And when they hung up, Jerry said, first we were talking to Neale, then we were talking to God.
Nice. Really cool.
Yeah. You are complete?
One more little thing.
Yeah.
The emotional scale thing, I feel like I've experienced many sudden shifts from deep negativity to clarity. Not more often than the gradual stuff, but that's just happened. That's happened in my journey, and you hear
why?
about that stuff.
You know why?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because the desire is so strong. When you want something a lot, it doesn't matter what you believe, because your inner being is so hooked into your desire. And so when you really, really, really want it, those big shifts can take place. That's what we are expecting about this conversation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Honored to meet you.
Yes.
Thank you.
The stairs are here if you prefer them. A railing and everything. Take it easy there.